quite often, and I figured I may as well start doing some videos, discussions, just get things out of my mind, verbalize them. So, the reason I take drives all the time, I live in West, and I take drives all the time just to locate some areas where there are less vehicle traffic, foot traffic, less population surrounding the area, because I like to have spots in the ready in my mind to where if a situation arose where I had to leave the city that I live in, I might have a few stashes along the way out of that city towards the undisclosed location that I would be bringing my family to, friends if friends as well. I just would have to discuss the importance of having their own kids and such, but it's a side thought. Anyways, I just like to have spots ready on the go, and it gets me out. When I'm not too busy, I can just take a drive up the mountains, out in the country. Every once in a while, I'll place a little kind of a test survival cache and mark it and check it in like a month, 2 months, some of them 6 months, because it varies some. But overall, I just like to stay active in the mindset of the what ifs, contingency planning and such, because otherwise I will stagnate. And that is not a comfortable feeling when you realize you're actually sitting around doing nothing when you have the time to do everything, pretty much. So I definitely think on that stuff a lot. It kind of takes up most of my thought. I also juggle around other things, obviously, work, finance, making money to be able to do this and live this kind of lifestyle, which is ultimately a self-sustaining off-grid lifestyle utilizing modern technology. I don't mind if I'm tapped into the wire or electricity or even the water, city water, but I want to have my own well, cistern, solar panels, just independent systems, not dependent upon government systems is what I call them, practically what they are, or more like corporations. But it's definitely on my mind a lot. I grew up predisposed to this. My dad thought this way. He definitely thought this way, and I'm currently driving by right where I grew up since I was 4 to 14, so about 10 years. I'll take a drive through right now. But I grew up with that kind of mindset that anything could happen. My dad was huge on Y2K, kind of more on the sensationalist side rather than the practical pragmatic side. But he stored up grains and stuff in an old unused bathroom, and I used to play on it as a kid and with my Arborman because it was like a mountain of stuff. Tons of toilet paper, shoes for years. He had a huge water tank kind of for a water collection system. It wasn't hooked up, we could have used it. We would get rains and we had no gutters, so we put bins under the gutters, where the gutter should have been. And basically we would fill those things up, 56 quarts of water in a day, and we have about 6 of them, so water wasn't going to be an issue for collection and such. But it's kind of a side tangent, but it's also related to why I go out on these drives every other week or sometimes once a week, and depending on my time, sometimes I'll do twice a week. And it just gets me out of the city. I don't feel so crowded. It's definitely more of a psychological game than anything. Your mind. You don't have a mindset. If you're cool with being in a city, cool. But still, like, if anything happens, you're going to want to have, personally, I know it sounds crazy, but a year's worth of food and water stored. That's hard to do. So you got to start small. incandescent dome home. Pretty efficient heating miles. Anyways, driving my old neighborhood, just see how it's changed. This was only a few minutes out of the normal, smaller town, and it's about a half hour from the city I live in now, and it's not far enough away for my liking, considering the population that surrounds the area. I live near one of the top 50 cities with the highest population in the United States. Not preferable. I like the location, just not living within the city. That bothers me a bit. But I don't think things are going to get too bad too quick. That's also a mindset that can get you kind of screwed. That can really screw you up big time, considering you just don't ever want to stagnate, and that is so easy to do from the day to day. Like, sometimes I'll find myself haven't even done a thing for a week, and I'll be like, what am I thinking, what am I doing? And none of it is beneficial to any future catastrophic natural or man-made event. It's nothing. It's my own negligence. Sometimes I can be pretty lazy. Not everything is always a great habit that I have, and that's a day-to-day struggle. And it's, again, all comes down to your mindset, which should be changing every day. And essentially it is. However, there are, again, like I said, there are those times when you just stagnate and you're lazy and you don't even want to think about doing something. You may not have the money that week or that month, so you just don't even care. You're like, I'll be fine without it. But that is a week to a month just lost. That is time, money lost towards preparing for anything you need to prepare for. And I'm not really big on all the conspiracies, because you look at them and those things will change. There'll be new governments, new corporations, new presidents bought off. Whatever you think about the system, whether you're for it or against it, it's fallible, it will fail. The finance, economics, it's all going to fail. But they'll always have new systems. My thing isn't morphing with the new system or working the old system. It's pretend there are no systems. Work systemless, essentially. And you will be the better for it, simply because you're not relying on man to come up with some system for you to thrive in or be comfortable in. I just see that as a big no-no for those of us who are seeking and want a self-sustaining off-grid lifestyle with a modern convenience, obviously. But it's such a downside to it when we become so comfortable thinking, well, this guy's got it, this president, this politician, Congress guy, these corporations, I don't know, hospitals, police departments, fire departments. They're good systems at the core of them, but they'll all fail. You come up with a huge national disaster. I mean, look at FEMA, who's basically a private corporation now. It was created as a national relief agency, but it doesn't do that anymore. Hurricane Katrina and even Sandy, I mean, they didn't do crap for more than a week. They weren't even to be heard from. A lot of people lose their houses in floods and fires, and FEMA, they're supposed to ensure, help rebuild the area, disaster area, and they just don't. They're owned by Homeland Security or something, or run by them, so that's conflict of interest right there. I see it that way. But I just want to be ready for anything, so I go out on these drives. I look for locations, I mark them on my maps, I get topographical state maps, and I mark areas. I do concentric circles, radius from populated zones, and I also mark just straight shots, how far places are. I prefer areas to 7 miles or more is great from any main road, and that's even considering a dirt road. That's very hard to find these days. Very hard to find. So I'm always scouting for those locations, and this isn't even me scouting to buy land. That in and of itself is going to be one of the hardest tasks I've ever tasked myself with, because those are just so hard to find, especially considering if you own your own business or you work however you work. If you don't have a lump sum that'll just carry you through the rest of your life, you gotta work. You gotta either make things, sell goods, or sell services, or you work for someone else that's selling a service or goods. So you either have a job or your own business. There will be a lot of taxes from that. Taxes alone could be anywhere from $1,500 to $5,000, depending on your business that you own, or if you work a job, could be maybe $1,500. You might get that back, but you don't get it all back. The taxing system alone, income tax, it doesn't make sense. I don't mind state tax. I don't mind a little bit of federal tax, but to the extent and the amount that they charge you, something just seems wrong about it. I don't know. That's a side thing I have to study for myself as well. But that amount of tax money just alone, you could buy a year's worth of food supply. $1,500 will easily do a year's worth, easily for one person. I'd say $1,500 could do it for 4 people comfortably and healthy. I'm talking, hemp seed. You eat hemp seed alone, you got your omega-3s, your fibers, omegas alone. You will have energy while everyone else is becoming emaciated and just sick because they're eating processed foods and boxed foods. That's better than nothing, but you might meet your calorie intake to have that initial energy, but you won't be healthy. And to me, that's a problem. I would like to be healthy amongst all the unrest, because you're going to come out on top. You have a family to support, you need that energy. You're the guy out there chopping wood to keep your family safe. If your kids are old enough, obviously you delineate, but essentially you're the man. Speaking to men, if you're a woman, you're the woman. You're going to be the man if you're a single mother of the house. You have to delineate these things, but if you're the only one capable of doing these, you need that energy to do it non-stop all day, sun up, sun down, even past, forward. That's going to get rough on people. That would be rough on me as it is right now. I'm not in the shape I need to be in for that kind of lifestyle. And again, with these day drives, I go and find spots. I'll go and hike for like 2 miles. I'll run up a trail just to get my heart pounding and feel like I can't breathe. My mouth is dry right now just from speaking so much without taking a sip of water, which I'm going to do right now at a red light. Taking about a gallon a day, sometimes a little more in the winter. And I'll put some Himalayan salt in there for electrolytes, because most of the water you buy, I buy reverse osmosis water. When I need to get a reverse osmosis machine, distilled water, done a lot of research, that should only be used if you're cleaning your body out, cleansing, or sick. Not every day. And obviously Berkey. I have a Berkey, which removes chromium, fluoride, bromine, chlorine, chloride, aluminum. It'll remove most everything. So those filters, excellent investment. I'd buy the filters instead and make a system out of maybe 5-gallon buckets. You cut the cost from the stainless steel. I understand stainless steel won't mildew or mold, but if you can clean out your buckets, your reservoir tanks, if you start to see a little sludge, just clean them out with a little bleach. You're good. Anyways, you're going to save a ton of money on that. I'll probably do a video some other time about that. This video is mainly my drives, but this is going to encompass everything I think about, why I'm doing these drives, why I'm going on these scouting missions, if you want to call them, these scouting drives. It's everything to be self-sustaining in case of a natural disaster, civil unrest. I mean, it doesn't even have to be government induced, although, you know, you got social engineering, which makes people insane. But, yeah, you can have civil unrest. People go crazy over a political decision. We just saw that with the election. Like, I'm not for anyone of the establishment. I don't care if you think Trump's against the establishment. He is very pro-establishment. That's as much as I'll probably get to on this channel about politics, and maybe not. Maybe sometime I'll actually get into it a little more to explain my reasoning behind my prepping and survival prepping, natural disaster, civil unrest, government-induced. I mean, there could be something international. We're still part of the UN. Who knows what's going on with that? But politically speaking, I'm not for politicians. Maybe on the local standpoint, as in sheriff, I don't know how rigged those could be. I kind of see everything as rigged, or people can easily be bought off. I don't get too much into that. My reasoning is my own. Your reasoning will be yours. For anything you do to protect your family, that's your reasoning. Heck, you could believe in, I don't know, Planet Nibiru. Do I know if it's fake or not? No, I just don't believe that is a thing. But some of you may, and that is on you. I do not condemn that. Prepare for anything. Contingency planning is the best plan you can have. Make all the reasons. I think, heck, zombies, go for it. Prep for a zombie apocalypse. More power to you, man. Yeah, that would be scientifically, I don't know the word right now, but that would be a near possibility. So if that happens, great. We'll all be ready, hopefully. Anyways, I am heading back to the city that I live in, and I'm going to spend a little bit of time on my map book. I'm going to be using my compass to draw concentric circles, 1 mile, 2 mile, 3, 5, 10, 20, and I'm going to be pinpointing locations that are on the way to an area that I have chosen. I have a few that I've chosen, and some of them are pit stops, some of them could be last stand points, I don't know. I mean, when you got a wife and kids, you got to think about that. You got to think about your friends who you're having to tag along with you. How do they help your group? What's their skill? Are they calm, clear-headed in the face of adversity and fear? Can we control our fears for the betterment of the group? These are things you gotta think about and be prepared for in your mind. Prepping is a mind game. When we know the game, you can play it. You can move your pieces correctly. I hear this all the time, and I totally agree. We're just pawns. Actually, we're probably lesser than pawns, but I'll just say we're pawns in the game of chess. But pawns can take a king. Pawns can take a queen. They can take anyone if they're strategically placed with the right information, the know-how, the wherewithal to move yourself in the right places. You can take out a king. That's the philosophy that I stand with currently. Don't see that changing. And from that standpoint, I don't, aside from government takeover, I mean, if you're just up against normal groups of others who aren't military trained or operating police, because they have military weapons you or I will never have or probably ever see among ourselves. It's retired military, ex-military, ex-policemen. You barely get weapons that civilians can't get. Military waves, you have weapons that mess with your frequencies in your head. I mean, they'll give you a burning sensation, noise in your head. I mean, I'm not worried. I'm not overly concerned about nuclear warfare. If that happens, I mean, come on. I'd rather just go. There's really not any need to survive at that point, in my philosophy. I'll talk on those and why I don't think they're big deals for me. But then again, if you're going to prep for nuclear holocaust, go for it. Do not ever let anyone, especially myself, deter you from doing so. My channel is simply about what I'm going to do, and it's mostly about preparing my mind. I'm probably not going to show too many preps. I might show how to make fire starters or stuff, or how I set up my kits to bury just more kids at home, but I'm not going to expose myself to the extent that everyone thinks I've got everything. I don't have much. I have bare minimum practical things to get through any sort of disorder in government, or just civil speaking, or natural disasters. I mean, natural disasters, you don't have people looting as much, which is great. But I'm going to get out of Dodge ASAP. I live in an area where forest fires have decimated areas. I actually lost a house in one of the forest fires. It reached the edge of the city where I lived. Probably a little too much information there. You can probably guess which city I live in. Background here, some people probably have identified, but it's not the point. I'm not too concerned about my location being exposed, because I'm out and about, moving around all the time. But natural disasters are probably not my favorite, but my favorite because there's still order. There's still police presence of order. As much as I don't trust the police state in these situations, they're great. They don't hinder me from moving about on all these back roads. If you have civil unrest, they may have checkpoints at that point. You may begin to have less flow in your vehicle and free movement. That's a huge possibility, and you have to plan a plan according to that specifically. And then you have an international crisis, invasion, war. At that point, cities will probably get not quarantine. You'll have curfew. You can't leave cities, certain things like that. So I want to be in the know enough to know when to get out before those things happen. It's a very hard thing to do. You need independent research alone, but independent radio contact with places around the world. And you might be getting levels of intelligence, like military level, not from the military themselves, but knowledge and intelligence they need. You may be getting just from individuals from other nations who know something's happening or see something happening. That's very invaluable. Ham radio, get licensed. I mean, have it in your car. I want to have that in my car. You got to get all that kind of stuff going. And it's just a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of energy. Be resourceful. That is the key. I'm definitely learning how to be more resourceful. I grew up playing outside, learning how to make fire. I'm still not proficient in all these, back to caveman style. I'm always going to have more than enough matches. I make my own fire starter to where there are just thousands, and they don't take up much space. I'm not concerned about that. I'm not a bow drill, rub some sticks together kind of guy. I practice a few times, I can do it. But the frustration level there, again, that's a mental thing that I still have to work on, because say I lose all my preps and I need to make fire. I'm not going to rub two rocks and sticks together and catch some lightning. I'm going to have to know how to make a bow drill or friction burn. And I have to know how to do that. I know how. The skill is just not there. It's not what I'm focused on currently. I'm more focused on being ready enough in a natural disaster kind of situation, or even a civil unrest. Just getting out of the city before checkpoints and roadblocks are appointed and set up. That is my main goal. That's my main reason to prep right now. Aside from that, most back roads won't be shut down. That just takes way too much manpower that most city and state do not have. Forest Service, they just don't have them. They don't have enough people, and half the time those guys will join in right with you. They know the back roads, so they're gone in a situation like that. They're just out of that situation. But these drives are very good for my mind. Keep me sharp. think of new things all the time, and that's what's great. I'll make mental notes. I'll take a little video. I might even put something like this in a video and put it up on YouTube, just to get other people thinking. I want people to think, so I don't have to think for them. Very selfish, but that is a primal, if you want to call it primal survival method. Get everyone in the village ready. The whole village can withstand and sustain themselves. One guy in the village is ready, everyone comes to him, and he's got to start making decisions he never wanted to make against his friends, where he's got to protect what he's done for himself because no one else listened. So community, finding a community is great, and sometimes we find a community, whether I live anywhere near any of you on here or not. We're a virtual community of like-minded people thinking the same way to create this version for ourselves of self-sustaining self-reliability that otherwise we would never learn. We're not taught. We're taught about the microwave society. I want it now. Go to the grocery store right now. Get your meal. Get your dinner. And don't think about tomorrow. And I mean, I do live by a philosophy of not worrying about what you're going to eat tomorrow. I'm sure some of us will know where that comes from. I don't want to get too into that, but my faith is my foundation. That's where I'm coming from. No one else has to agree. I'm not condemning others for that. I have no need to. I'm looking more for getting others in the mindset of preparing, and that is a biblical standpoint. All throughout the Bible, we will see two handfuls of times, probably more, where people just needed to prepare for coming events. And there's nothing wrong with that. You'll have a lot of, I'll say it, a lot of Christians who say that that shows a lack of faith. And I don't agree, scripturally, contextually speaking. It's not true. In fact, you have a responsibility, especially as men, as house rulers, we have that responsibility to take care of our families. And if we don't do that, what good are we? We're useless. You may as well just leave now. You're not going to protect your family. And having the mindset that you will, preparing now, when this could be 5, 10, 15, 20 years before anything actually big happens. You're teaching your kids how to think that way. And you're creating a legacy of your family. Your family's legacy is reliability, self-reliability, sustainability. You're not relying on these systems that always fail. Historically speaking, accurately, they fail. They will fail, they always do. New systems come up, but they're never better. We don't see systems that are better, we see worse because there are more laws and regulations, I'd say, taxes, more tariffs. Things just get worse. Systems fail and you come up with a new system and it's more dogmatic, more totalitarian. We have silent dictators. Anyways, here in my location. And just fixing on doing this about every time. It's a good half hour. I could probably make a few within rather than 1.5 hours. It's pretty hard to watch, I understand. Especially when I'm not giving great information, I'm just discussing things. But discussions are just as important because in comment, we share our ideas. And we all expand on our own contingencies, that's the point. I mean, you come down to the root of it, that is the point. I want to expand all of my knowledge on these things. I'll never be 100%. I'll never be someone else. But someone else might have excellent information that I've never even thought of. So that's why I'll say like and subscribe. Like this after you watch it, or within, whatever. Even if you don't like, it brings it up as a YouTube hit kind of thing. I'm not looking to make money. I'll probably monetize just in case. But my point is to get people thinking. And the more videos we put out like this, people who are watching this in that, I guess, prepper mindset, or even prepper bug out bags or whatever, the more of that comes up on YouTube, the more that people might get an interest, the bigger that community becomes, and the more ready this nation as a whole will be. And that is definitely the point. That is a huge thing. And it's definitely, it needs more focus. So that's why I will say all my videos now from now on, please like and subscribe and share it with anyone you want to. I don't know if you can tag on YouTube. I'm not that YouTube savvy yet. I just post videos every once in a while. If you can tag it or embed it on things, just show people. One YouTube channel, this is where I'm getting this from, Prepared Mind. I watch every update video because he gets me thinking. John is his name. And he gets me thinking about these things that I've never thought about, because the mindset is the most important thing. I don't care if you've got 10 years worth of food and equipment, you live in a bunker. Have you lived in the bunker? Have you not seen sunshine for a year? If you haven't done stuff like this, your mind will not be ready. You will likely crack. Mindset is the most valuable tool you'll ever have. And it's the only way you will survive. Will is not enough. For very few, maybe 5% of people, willpower will be enough. But for most people, no. It's not going to cut it. And we cannot get stuck in the thought that, oh, if that happens, I'll be fine. I'll figure it out. It's a bad mindset. It's super flawed. You can't think that as your survival plan. It'll fail. It'll fail within a month. Anything hardcore like that, done. There's no coming back from a failed mindset. You can have a failed plan. You can lose half of your food preps. That's fine in the limelight of things. It's your mindset fails. Everything, your life fails at that point. Your stand in this new world, done. You'll start doing things you never thought you were capable of, wicked things that you probably did not have to resort to if you had prepped your mind for what I consider the inevitable. And if you're not prepping your mind before everything else, while you're prepping your actual physical material preps, you're not going to have a good time. You will not have the reasoning within your own mind to reason with yourself in situations of what to do, the logistics of things, making a decision. If you're not calm and collected in the worst of situations, which is a very hard thing to do. I mean, we have soldiers coming back with PTSD from Iraq and Afghanistan. Soldiers through the pages of history have had PTSD from war. We will be living in active war zones, expecting that we're just going to wing it and our willpower is going to cut it. That is like the utmost folly I've ever heard. Some of the most foolish thinking, and I hear it from people. A lot of people have known me as like an outdoors guy, and they're always like, well, I'll just come to you, and I'm like, they don't even know I have preps ready, but I'm just like, no, you won't. It's not going to work for you. You better start coming with me now and learning these skills and preparing your mind, because otherwise I'm out. I'm not going to let you know where I'm at. It sounds ruthless, but there's a level of being ruthless. We have to be within our own parameters that we set for ourselves and our boundaries that we set for ourselves. There's no way some of my best friends, if they're not prepping, I mean, I don't have many friends that are close in that regard. I have a few who are like-minded. We kind of just stick together. It's kind of a thing we have to do. And it becomes a want as well. I'll say you become comfortable in it, although you're not comfortable because we're all human. Some of these people around me, they might do things they never thought they were capable of that totally destroys you and your community and your set up. These are all possibilities. There are contingencies for everything. Anticipate. Anticipation is probably the key to everything. Anticipate everything failing, anticipate everyone turning on you, anticipate your food going bad, your water going bad, your shelter destroyed. Anticipate the worst. There's a Latin, si vis pacem perillum. Yeah. Pray for peace, prepare for war, essentially, roughly translated in Latin. That has stuck with me since I learned it, because you need to think the worst thing is going to happen. The worst. And ultimately, the worst, I think, is nuclear. And I'm like, thought about that. Great. Done. Situation toast. But in the smaller situations, think the worst situation. The worst thing that can happen. Anticipate it. Plan to the best of your knowledge for it. And keep cycling through it, creating a better plan for it. Plan A, B, C, go to Z. And practice them. Prepare your mind. Share with those who are in your direct team vicinity within your household. Make games out of it for the kids. There's just so much you can do, and there's no government organization, not even FEMA, who will ever try to teach you any of this stuff. We have to do it ourselves. No one's coming to help you. If anything, they're coming to rob you. There will be not all military, ex-military are stand-up guys. They will band together and they might start marauding and scavenging. They might start robbing people, highwaymen. These things are gonna happen. You essentially have to have a force to combat that. And that's hard to do and move around stealthily without being spotted or tracked back to your location. I mean, you have to be military minded, and that comes with a lot of, you have to be ruthless, and that comes with so many mindsets that we in everyday civilian life here. You don't even think about it. You might see it in the movies and be like, wow, that guy's pretty cool, he can do that kind of stuff. I could never do that. And you're right, you never could do it, because he's been trained to do that, and we haven't. We have to train ourselves further than any other training we've ever received. Even military, you got to keep your training, and you've got to further train yourself. These are things we have to do and have to think about. I think about this stuff. Some might think I'm consumed and obsessed. I can understand that viewpoint, but I look at them as consumed or obsessed with, say, football or cinema or just their job alone or something. Everyone has their obsession. How does it benefit you, though? That is the important question. How does your obsession benefit you? Does it keep you alive? Does it teach others how to stay alive and become part of a team in a community to rebuild a civilization if need be? I don't think football does that. You have a bunch of dudes tackling each other over some pigskin football. I mean, I know it's more than that, but I do not see those things as important whatsoever. I stay away from them. I save hours a week. I can utilize that time to think processes up like this. I mean, I can create a manual for a new teammate with all of these codes and everything. And you can do that within an hour and a half. Football games last longer than that. Baseball lasts longer than that. Even soccer. I used to play soccer in high school. I love the thing. Great sport, great conditioning. I would train for that, but I probably wouldn't join a team. But these things, we have the time that we need to utilize better. Our minds, we need to think and anticipate and utilize better. There's all these versions of life, all these versions of people walking around, driving around as I am, who probably haven't even thought any of these thoughts in their whole entire life, and they probably never will, simply because it's not common. There's a rough percentage statistic out there saying 7 to 10%. I think that's kind of high of Americans are prepping for stuff like this. I don't see that as a factual thing because, first of all, most people, they're not on the internet telling people they're prepping. Again, like I said, I have minimal preps. I'm hurting for what I want, but I got what I need. And if you have what you need, which is mostly your mind and a certain philosophy, you're going to be okay. You may not be great. I mean, life right now is more than great. Everything at our fingertips. And we still don't think life is great. That is being a product of American society, Western culture in general, for the last 100 years. This place has been prosperous for far too long, and people do not know what it's like to live outside of prosperity. Can't even fathom it. So I'm parking right now, heading to the Dollar Tree for some fire starting kits. Put together for like $5, and that's enough to start fire for a month. Every day if you let it go out. So I'm gonna head in. Probably think of a ton more. You know, this video is nearly 45 minutes. Some of you made it through. Well done. Attention span, you have focus. Something many don't have. So again, well done. Like and subscribe to this. There will be more to come. I'm just gonna start doing these whenever I'm driving. Maybe I'll do more like 10 or 15 minute subjects. And let's get the word out to people. It's very important for us to think of this, especially for people who haven't. You come across this on accident and you start thinking, that is the goal. That is my goal on YouTube, on the internet. That's my only goal. And that pretty much covers it. Long first video, got it. We'll change that. Like and subscribe. I appreciate all of you comment. Please comment. Any kind of things you can think of, just throw down that text. I love seeing how other people think. I have learned everything, obviously, from how other people think. I really don't think I've ever had an original thought that someone hasn't thought. I just thought it in my own way, but it's not original. And I know that capacity is out there. So please comment, please like, please subscribe. Share this. Lead me to some of your videos. I will definitely watch those. I listen to audios on YouTube while I'm driving as well if I'm not making a video. It's always just constantly learning. You gotta constantly learn. Adapt to everything, every situation. Because life doesn't stop. It does not stagnate. Neither should we. And it's a cool little slogan. Don't stagnate. Yeah, so I will probably be doing this within a couple days again. Not even thinking, 45-minute video. Might take about 3 days to upload from my phone. We'll see. Maybe overnight while I sleep. Anyways, talk to y'all later. Appreciate your time.